guys. Welcome to the House of Petty. Once again, we're going to get into some real motherfucking discussion. But how's your weekends been over here, though?
Mine is pretty good thus far. How about you, Corey?
Just pick the heavy shit up and put it back down.
How about you, babe?
Pretty good. Just tired from working my ass off this past week. Had a pretty successful day yesterday at work. So just trying to make sure I continue that next week.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just getting the podcast out to Facebook right now.
I just told my girl that it's gonna be on Facebook. On the Facebook.
Yeah, so Facebook world, Twitterland, all that other things. Giving it to you right now. And it's live. All right, but the discussion that we have this week is when it comes to parents that disown their child for anything. Could be that they're trans, gay, bisexual, lesbian, queer, transamorous, sapiosexual, demisexual, pansexual, whatever the case is, like all the letters of the alphabet.
Trisexual, triangle.
Trisexual, yeah, trisexual. you got people out there like that.
Right.
So parents that disown their children like that, if it comes to later in life and they A, recognize that they fucked up, or B, just decide that, hey, I feel like I am entitled to see my child, do they have the right to re-enter that life after that child has A, moved on, B, found an adopted family, stuff like that, or C, just doesn't want anything to do with them at that point? What say you out there in the world? If you want to leave a comment, let us know exactly what's going on. But more importantly right now, like, subscribe, share, do whatever you gotta do. But let's go to Corey right now. What do you think about that?
Well, when I talk about things of this matter, I always promote, individuality, never a group mentality. Everybody has a different circumstance in life. And, unfortunately in life too, we have to be wary of, users and abusers, and even family members can be users and abusers. Let's say you or somebody who came out as trans and you did your transition, but your family rejected you, kicked you out. But let's say you made it big somehow, like you became a successful singer, or hell, you got a regular 9-to-5 job and you climb the ranks and you like making $250K plus a year. And your family finds out, oh, we're so sorry, we abused you, mistreated. We're so sorry we kicked you. We just didn't understand, and da 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 da. Trying to be all sweet, and trying to get all all buddy with you again. But really, they're after your money. It's a fucked up reality. We have to be aware of users and abusers. Within family, even your close friends. We expect it from strangers, but sometimes we don't see it coming from family, and usually family are the ones that are the users and abusers.
And sometimes that happens. You got people out there, let's face it, we got a lot of talented people within the LGBTQ plus community, like within the fashion industry, the music industry, movies, but even people that they're just good at what they do, whatever it is, whether it be an office job or be working in sanitation or MTA or
me inspector
or you inspector, them welders, they must listen to. So even in sales, you got successful people within the community. So whenever they make it big, like you said, they're making like a good amount of money. There are situations like that where the family will be like, oh no, I gave birth to you, so therefore you must take care of me now, stuff like that. And it's like, whenever I hear those stories, I'm just like, yo, are there parents that really feel that entitlement? But Then I
apparently mine does.
yeah, and I mean that's the thing. I think back to like, my father when I was little. I may not have made it big or whatever, but he did feel the entitlement that even though like he was a shitty father and was like in and out the first few years of my life and then pretty much out the rest of it because of his drug habit, like there were times where he felt like, I guess whenever he got like a little clean, he felt the entitlement that, oh, I can go back and I can see my son and like take that trophy off the shelf, because I made that, something like that. So it's like thinking of their child as like a thing or a possession as opposed to like an actual living human life.
Mhm.
That's the part that gets me a lot of times is like, you can't equate a living human life to a possession or a thing.
I agree.
Maybe I might come off a little biased on this because I absolutely love women of transgender experience, but it seems like to me I've noticed that within the community there seems to be a lot of like artistically talented individuals more so than the quote unquote straight world. And me saying that, I'm not like putting down the straight world whatsoever, but it seems to take an interesting mind to go through some of the things you go through when you're in transition, and that builds. Inadvertently, it's an old saying, but it's still saying for a reason. That builds character and that builds different perspectives, and then people can put their mind with these unique perspectives into art, and it's just very. I mean, I'm amazed. Like I've met so many talented people. I've met who were trans and whatnot. Out in California, I'm not going to mention her name because she's technically she's underground with this, but she does a lot of like underground work. Fighting against the government, trying to take lands and stuff like that. Dapple, pipeline like that. And she's also a talented artist and something. She's something of a teacher. She could be a professor or a high school teacher. I'm not gonna say exactly, but I was just like, wow, you're so multifaceted and whatnot. And then I've met other people who were multifaceted lives who are also in transition. People who are business owners and like high up in the corporate world. So, and unfortunately, that group of people in particular, are open to users and abusers because, a lot of times people face, like you were talking about, like rejection from the family and any ounce of acceptance. People are just grasping for it. They're I wouldn't say desperate, but they're just yearning for a sense of acceptance because being rejected by your family. And sometimes that can lead you to accepting somebody in your circle who's not good for you, whether family or not.
Right.
But blood family when I say family. So
yeah, the relatives.
Yeah.
But you also have those family members who are not only still in your life, but still pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll give you a good example. Like, me and my father didn't really have the best relationship, and it was mostly because of him. I mean, he's put women before his own kids. He's put addiction before his own kids. Verbally abused us, physically too. I mean, people could say whatever they want or try to take up for him or whatever the case may be. Yeah. My dad was a shitty father. And on top of that, like, he didn't support anything I did. If he did, it was to benefit him.
Yeah. I mean, which usually kind of like is the case in those situations where like I really strongly feel that a lot of times when those parents do that, it's like they're thinking more of their circumstance
Mhm.
as
Their
opposed to
reputation.
the child. Yeah, like
Yeah.
but like I said, that's the best word I could use is like entitlement because it's like as if they feel like since they did give birth or
That you're supposed to,
or if it's
you owe them everything, supposedly.
exactly, or if it's a father since he laid out the seed, that all of a sudden like he's entitled to the child, and it's like no, like I mean if that child was like say like hypothetically like 15 when you disown them and now they're like 21, 22, and they've gone ahead and they've developed a way to make a life for themselves.
Mhm.
It's like they at that point they might be gone. They're like, look, yeah, you gave me a roof over my head for the first 15 years, but
Yeah, cool.
because,
Thanks.
but because of you kicking me out at that young age, and I had to figure out how to finish school for myself or
Yeah.
to get a job for myself, get a roof over my head and everything like that. then it's like, yeah, you denied me of that, but I attained it on my own. Like I don't really owe you shit at that point.
Right.
And if they feel that way, more power to them. But if they don't feel that way and they do feel like, okay, well, they did raise me for the first 15 years of my life, maybe I can kind of reach an arm out and try to extend some kind of, relationship building or something like that, then I mean, more power to them for that as well, because, it's their life. They have the right to kind of feel how they want to feel.
Agreed.
But I'll be honest with you, just from my perspective, I can't really see too many kids or young adults or whatever feeling that, hey, okay, this is right for them to try to enter my life at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, regardless if you kick them out of the house or not, if you're a shitty parent, what makes you think that you're entitled to your child's future? Especially if you've been nothing but a shitty parent to them. That's my whole thing. Because like I was around my dad. My mom was never around. Shit, I ain't gonna lie to you. Regardless of what she did, that was still my mom. I love her, and she loves me. I've only seen her a couple of times, and that was it.
I got a
After.
Mhm.
There were times, there were good times with me and my dad, and there were bad times, but the bad is pretty much outweighed the good. I'm not gonna lie. It was like 1 minute we're arguing with each other because he's either drinking or whatever, and then the next day I act like everything's cool. But then he'll say in the same breath, like, I put y'all in this world, everything is owed to me. No, the hell it ain't.
Oh, I hate that. Oh my God. Like, that's something that my father used to kind of say, like, when I was a kid and he tried to come around or whatever. Like, he would literally use the phrase, like, I brought you into this world, I can take you out.
Right. He would use that against me too. I told him at one point, I was like, I will call my brother and have you screwed up. Don't play with me. I mean, there was maybe 1 or 2 times where me and my father had physically almost fought. Like, I almost went to jail. I'm not going to go into detail, but let's just say mama had to save his ass. I ain't gonna lie. It was like, what makes you think that just because you brought us into the world, you can put us through hell, treat us like shit, but be entitled to what we gain or earn? You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, you may have brought us into the world, but we don't owe you shit. If anything, we owe you our respect. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. They may take it any way they want to, but you're lucky to get that.
Sometimes that's not even a given, because if you kick somebody out and then they've been estranged from you for X amount of time, at some point it's like, yo, like, you ain't been around me in this amount of time, so like, keep your energy over there. Keep that
Right.
keep that same energy you had when you threw me the fuck out of the house.
Right. Keep that same energy when you threw him out of the house. Keep the same energy when you used and abused, manipulated your kids verbally, physically, whatever the case may be, financially. Keep that same energy. Seriously, because ain't none of the kids asked to be here. I damn sure didn't. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, don't let relationships control and oppress you. I have a little personal story. Not quite as as in depth as what you all had went through. But it's kind of recent. But a few years ago, when I started my YouTube channel, that video I was talking about, and that wasn't my coming out video, by the way. I've been out for a few years before that. But I put a video out on Facebook because I was just so sick of it. At the time, it was just rampant on the news and whatnot. Trans people, this person was trans, they were trying to touch a kid, blah, blah, blah. And I was just sick of it. And, the girlfriend I had at the time, she was going through it, whatever. So I decided to put out a video out on Facebook talking about that. Me just coming out in the open and say, hey, I love trans women, blah, blah, blah. And I explained, there's so much more important to this and that, whatever. And I had a family member, I'm not going to say their name, but I had a family member flip out over this video on Facebook, And they said, how could you do this? And they were talking about how they were going to have to move to Alaska. I shit you not. They deleted their Facebook. And they said that I might have to move to Alaska because you're going to damage our reputation. And I'm gonna have to deny you, because they were worried about their career, because we're in the roughly the same career field. I'm an inspector, so was this individual, and they flipped out over it, and they deleted their Facebook, got off of it. Essentially, I ran this person off Facebook. They haven't been back since. And I laughed because they said, you should have gave me a heads up first. I didn't tell this person nothing.
So you gave them.
You didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you gave them beyond a 30-day ban.
Yeah. No. The ultimate ban, the ban of weakness in their own mind. But yeah, and but of course nothing happened. They didn't get excommunicated at work. Matter of fact, they're doing really well at their job now. They're like way up there now. I know you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so it's it's funny, and they thought that they were entitled for me to make a statement about who I am. I'm like, no, that's never been the case, never will be.
Right.
And I actually made that video on a whim because I actually got into an argument with the same person, and they were talking all this mad shit about people with transgender experience. I'm like, fuck you, So maybe that was part of the fuel for that video too. But anyhow, yeah, a little short story.
Crazy,
Yeah. I'm about to move to Alaska or Wyoming, or I'm not gonna be able to keep a job here if I go in the next day and people call me gay this or FAG this and that.
They're more so worried about their reputation than your happiness. And to be honest, that's really fucked up. Because like my dad, he didn't come to terms. Well, supposedly didn't come to terms until I was getting ready to move here to New York. Because I've dealt with so much bullshit.
Did he try to get you to stay in Detroit?
He was just like, oh no, what am I gonna do? Yeah, he did try to get me to stay in Detroit. Because he was just like, I'm just gonna find an apartment, whatever case may be. You can stay here and take care of mom and this and that and the other. He was basically trying to force me to stay here and take care of my grandmother. When even though me and my grandmother don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, she always said to me, you gotta go out and get your own because I'm not gonna be here. She's always said that to me, regardless of us seeing eye to eye or not. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at him and told him, I'm like, I don't know how much bleach you've been drinking, but Latrina, and that got to go. Okay. I've been here too goddamn long. It's too depressing up in Detroit. It's too many trans girls getting killed. Too many DL niggas. And a certain person, I'm not mentioning his name, okay? I ain't trying to be petty.
All right, this is House Petty.
Lord Jesus. But I got to forgive this motherfucker for the sake of me. So I can continue my happiness with this man right here. Okay. All right. Although I do forgive my father for being a shitty parent, but is he allowed access to my life? No. Is he allowed access to anything I may or may not need in the future? No. Because he hasn't done anything to earn my love, my respect, or anything. When you bring a child into the world, you're supposed to love that child unconditionally and instill that love in that child so that they don't have to go out looking for love in other places, which is what I did. Because I didn't get that love that I was looking for until now.
Yeah, and I mean, the main reason we bring up this topic is because, I mean, a lot of people on one side of this country don't see it because they overlook it.
Mm-hmm.
Two,
It's too hard to think.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's too hard to think about that, and it's like,
Or
oh,
they don't want to think about it.
yeah, or they feel like it's not part of their day to day life. So
Mhm.
they're like, oh, why should we really care? But then
Right.
you have another part of this country where it's like,
You just go back to their TV dinners.
not like, well, yeah, for them, yeah. But there's another part of the country where it's like, we know people that have been in these situations, or B, have been in these situations ourselves, or C, live in a place where you see people that are living in hardship situations, and it's
Right.
because of the fact that they dealt with a situation similar to that.
Mhm.
So it's like, yeah, so we bring it up because, like, I mean, it's not just a conversation piece, it's real life. And I just
It's real talk.
It's real talk.
Mhm.
Shout out to the Real Talk podcast.
Exactly.
Straight up from the Broom Currituck.
Okay.
Yeah, so well, shameless plugs, but yeah.
Who's shameless plugs?
Yeah.
What is that? You say shameless
Yeah,
plugs?
shameless plugs, like you plug something shamelessly.
Yeah.
I'm lost on that. What is it?
It's a saying mostly from wrestling and other podcasts. Like,
Oh, okay.
like you secretly drop a plug in somewhere. Like, okay, I plugged that podcast. I plugged it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I had to educate some of you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, that's the reason why, like, we do bring this up, because it's something that should be put out there, so this way people understand that just because you may be living a conservative lifestyle, or a lifestyle where you don't see a certain subgroup of people too often, it's like, understand, like, everybody's different. We're all out here. We're all living our lives.
This is America. Be yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got America, you got America, you got America, everybody.
United States.
Right.
Yeah,
If you're British, it's the United States of America.
Yeah, and I mean, let's face it, like
Bloody
all around the world.
You tried it.
yeah, all around the world, you got all different types of people.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's better to embrace each other or to understand each other than it is to just segregate each other everywhere.
Exactly. And speaking of segregation, like at the end of the day, no matter the race, no matter the age, like we all got to stick together. It was like, you can't put segregation and inclusion in the same sentence. It's like, how are you trying to exclude an already marginalized group while trying to be a part of that community? That makes no sense to me.
Exactly.
It really doesn't.
Yep. But I mean, that's the question we had for today. So, I mean, if you want to let them know where they can find you at on YouTube.
Oh yeah, Librium Curitate, which is Latin for free love. And also, if you can't, because it's kind of hard to find me by my name, you could just look up I Love Trans Women, and my video should pop up within like the first 10 videos. So I'm wearing it's got American flags all over, welder's cap, and I'm sitting in my truck just talking about things, doing a real talk.
Yeah,
Real motherfucking talk.
And you can find me on Miss Brooklyn on TikTok. Well, not on TikTok, but you can find Miss Brooklyn, which is myself, on Instagram and Twitter. My TikTok is Latria89official. You can find me there. And if you want to order some Transcendency hair growth oil, you can go to my Transcendency official business page on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which is $35 a bottle. You gotta grow your hair back, your edges, your hairline, like back here. If you got damaged hair, like Transcendency help out with that. I got pictures and stuff to prove it, so there's no BS over here.
Thanks. And yeah, as you know, I do host the Real Talk podcast. So you can find that on major streaming platforms. House of Petty right here that you should be watching. And yeah, you could find me on Twitter at Mike Brooklyn. And we'll be back again with some more topics to discuss next week.
Cool.
And we're out.